afternoon, good evening, good metal. My name's Good. Welcome to the Spoken Metal Show. This episode, Raging Speedhorn last week were finishing up their tour. One of the dates they played was quite close by, so it was a really good chance to go and see my friend David plays guitar for them as well. But what was cool is that we kind of got into the green room and it was like, you know what, let's just talk about metal for an hour, which is exactly what we did. I'll try and keep this intro short. The only reason I really got this intro is to tell you that obviously this is backstage, so there's all noise and there's all, there's a lot of people out there that might be like, oh, they're recording shite, or they can't hear this person, or can't hear that person. Really what I was trying to go for was just to create that wonderful vibe of just talking about metal and enthusiastically and talking about which way metal goes. And we start with kind of very simple stuff the first time you hear metal, which is often how I start a lot of the shows and a lot of the interviews. And then we delve and we start to get much more deeper into kind of music and metal in itself. So I thought it was a really good conversation. And there's a lot of times you can just hear us laughing because it was just fun. But obviously you can also hear people sound checking. I think Desert Storm was sound checking while we were kind of talking. So every so often you're going to hear all that like noise of guitars and all the rest of it. But that's kind of how I like it. It's one of the things that I think is unique about the podcast that I do. Is that every so often you will have that, because it's a real conversation. It's not set up. There's no scripted questions or any of that nonsense. It's pretty much as is. So I really hope you enjoyed. This is a sit down with virtually all of Raging Speedhorn. Enjoy. Well, I was going to fucking sit down with my very good friend David Sleazy, but I think we're gonna try and improvise a little bit, because I've got essentially all of Raging Speedhorn to sit down with, so what an opportunity not to be missed, And normally what I fucking talk about is how the first time someone got into metal or music as a whole, So what was the first sort of records you all picked up then? Was it something like Sabbath, or was it pop?
Shaking Stevens, Green Door.
The Green Door.
Jim's was older than that.
That's
Jim's
a fucking...
Bert Whedon.
No, that was the Learn to Play book.
Yeah. Because it's like, do you pick those records up because like your parents were into them, or was it more a case of like, was it the schoolyard where you need to fucking hear this song?
There was probably two then, so it would have been Green Door because I heard it on the charts all the time. And I finally got a record player, so it was the first one that was my record.
Did it get bought for you, or did someone?
No, I bought it.
Oh, right, yes,
I bought it with pocket money, And the first one that I got into because of someone else would have been my dad, and it would have been Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd.
Shit, that's a quantum leap from Shaking Stevens,
I know.
isn't it?
Well, I did have then, because I listened to charts. There was far more varied because there was more bands.
Gary Glitter, you like.
Because for those people listening from maybe the States or the countries, Shaking Stevens was our attempt at Elvis, essentially, wasn't it? That's what his thing like, So, but that was when I guess the charts mattered a lot more than they do now.
They were more varied as well. There was more bands as opposed to just electronic music.
You could have like Judas Priest on top of the pops as well as Shaking Stevens.
Sex Pistols and everyone.
And no one really said anything about that. It was just like, that's it. Who's the next band on? Different time then, I guess. So then, what about the rest of you? What's all your first records?
Live After Death.
Was it? Yeah. Shit, that's fucking starting big. Like,
it's proper, that is.
It sounds too cool to be believable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't believe anything.
I don't think I can remember what my first record was. I'm younger than all these. It was probably like...
What, by 2 years?
Fucking bit more than that, though, innit? I mean, 6.
Much
Four,
younger.
though, innit? My first thing was probably like Bad by Michael Jackson.
A lot of people
say
Michael Jackson, because it was so huge and it was like, so pushed because of Thriller and stuff.
I remember having it on a cassette.
Yeah, fucking hell, that dated, doesn't it?
I was probably into Dross at that time as well.
Yeah. Because that's what they used to have on the front of like
still am.
Kerrang and stuff. They used to have like that plastic record, you know those, and that was some people's first vinyl, even though it was plastic essentially. Like,
Ross came from my hometown, and it's funny, one of my best mates, his sister took his sister, like for a joke when they were starting to come out, like do stuff, like so could I have your autograph, and he did it. And then like she just, whatever, and just threw it in the bin afterwards, and then they suddenly just went massive.
That was massive.
It's a good length actually. My first 7-inch was Billy Joel, Uptown Girl.
I remember the video, because that was in an era when that video was fucking, he was like dancing as a mechanic and shit, like, and
that was my first 7-inch, but my first CD was Bros Bush. Kylie Minogue's first one.
Yeah, Carving the
There you
Rose
go.
album comes up a lot, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I got that and a CD player for Christmas.
Oh, CDs,
There
shit.
you go.
With no case, just came with the CD player.
Oh no. The Bros CD though was the first ever picture CD.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because before it was just black text
Yeah,
printed
yeah.
on.
Because that's coming back as well, because vinyls obviously they're hugely fucking, back in business, but there's loads of that where they have coloured vinyl and stuff, and they
Yeah,
have like
yeah.
kind of pictures of eyes and shit on it and all that.
Well,
They
it's
were
kind-
massive. Did you, when you started listening to music then, when was it when you went like, and started actively going out looking for music, when you went to record shops or whatever? How were you, I always ask, how did you digest it? Was it like watching on telly, or did you actually start going out and going, I need to find more of this or more of that?
Well, that and picking up an instrument for me was Queen live at Wembley.
Yeah.
That was it. I saw that. That was it. That was it. I just wanted to be in a band. I wanted to be
Was it
more.
as simple as that? It was like,
Yeah.
I wanted to start, not even just play, I want to be in a band as
Yeah.
well.
I wanted to be in a band and more into music.
Because isn't that how kind of like, that's how it should work, is that people on stage should show people that this is possible, that you can do this, that you do, instead of working or doing whatever, you can be that, like,
Me and Dan have this conversation more than once a day about like, so this is Queen live at Wembley. I remember watching that, but my dad was so into Queen that I remember him sitting me down when the Freddie tribute concert was on, and we watched it on TV. And up until then, I would have been like 5 or 6 then. So up until then, I didn't know any other bands existed other than Queen. I just didn't. And then like, so Metallica came out first, and then Def Leppard.
They were first out.
Yeah. But then Guns N' Roses were on, and then like all of a sudden, there's this ginger-haired guy running around screaming his knackers off, and some guy with a big top hat and massive hair with a guitar with 2 necks. I was like, who the fuck are these? Obviously, didn't say who the fuck are these.
And you're like,
Who are these? And he was like, let's go to East Slash, and he's from Stoke like you. And I was like,
shit.
that's it, that's what I'm doing then.
I didn't see that one when you say, like you, you could
he's
be,
from Stoke like you. So since then, that's just...
Because you're a Les Paul guy
I
from
wanted to
Rotherham.
guitar, want to do that, and that was it.
Shit.
And look at me now, fuck you.
Made it.
Played to 30 people in Chester.
Made it. It's funny how whenever Slash comes up on like in guitar magazines in the UK, they always do like polls of best guitarists from certain areas, and I always feel sorry for him who's based in Stoke. Oh shit, he's from Stoke. Yeah, but it's nice that like you see these and you think, you know what, if I learn to play, I can fucking get out of it, like a shitty environment or somewhere where it doesn't have much work or anything like that, like especially like during the 80s and stuff and the early 90s when it was shit. So when did you all move to picking up an instrument then, or singing, or whatever it may be?
I've got 2 older brothers, and my middle brother Stu, he started sort of like, I'm one of those people who sort of tried to do loads of different instruments and never quite took to it. And then one day he started playing guitar, and I was like, I fancy a bit of that. So I just started picking up my guitar, and then it went from there really.
But it's like, so Stevie was did you immediately go off for Les Paul as well, or Les Paul looking guitar?
No, at first, so like it was a lot of years after that I got serious. I kept asking for one. Can I have a guitar? You've got to go for lessons. Oh, I don't want to do that. So because I had to go for lessons, I didn't want a guitar, and then it just kept bugging him. My mum had a guitar. She didn't play, but she had a guitar when she was a kid. It was still in the loft. And I found it.
Electric or
no, it was a Spanish.
Oh right, yeah.
It had like 3 or 4 strings on it, so I just arsed about on that a little bit. Learned a few chords on these 4 strings, and then my dad was like, "Oh, yeah, go on then. We'll
buy you 2 more strings."
Yeah, 2 more strings.
One at a time, right? Yeah.
And then I got an electric guitar.
Should have been a bassist.
Yeah, don't throw it. I know what I mean. I got an electric guitar that Christmas, but it was by then I wanted a white Strat like Jimmy.
Okay.
But then soon found out after that I didn't really like the Strat when it was in my hands.
Yeah.
And was seeking the Les Paul from then, just because we used to go to guitar shops where probably when I met you.
Yeah.
Jimmy used to work in a local guitar shop. I'd be there on a Saturday just asking to try the most expensive gifts. and they were like, not fucking you again. And I would go for half an hour and buy a Plectrum for 50p.
But that was like, you know, especially when I was learning to play, going to the guitar shop and seeing guitars that I couldn't afford, that was fucking great. You know,
Proper Waynesworth style.
seeing £1,000 guitar, what the fuck, you know?
No, that's what I did about 2-3 years ago, basically. We were playing in Cardiff, and when we were like, right, I busted a string, I've got to get a new packet of string. Walked around the corner with my mates who are like a local band, went into Cranes.
Well, it's closed now.
Is it? Right, went into Cranes, and because they know the guy there, oh, you want to try a Telecaster out? I was like, yeah, alright then. So basically got down this 1961 Telecaster Custom, put it on me, I was playing it going, this is nice. How much? 14.5? Yeah. So, like, shit. Oh my god. So, like, sitting
Yeah. Haven't damaged it, honestly, like, yeah.
Try it.
So did you, go on, would you sit and bang on the drums early on, or was it other instruments before it on? So it was,
Played guitar before.
yeah?
Yeah.
Why guitar? Why was that the starting point then?
Coolest fucking one, isn't it?
It was, yeah.
It was just because there were just loads around. My brother had one, a younger brother. The way it was that film Crossroads. We used to watch it all the time.
Oh yeah,
and I was
with
like,
Steve
"I
Vai at
love
the
to
end,
play
like,
guitar
yeah.
that." That's what it meant. Just at school, no one played drums. It was like, do you want to try and try? And that was
Yeah.
it. Now, but I was telling you earlier on, went on about my dad for ages about getting a drum kit.
Yeah.
My family a bit dodgy, so they ended up taking me down this back street one night. My uncle came and got me just before Christmas, and this guy opened the garage door.
Yeah.
Do you want that? It was nicked. Fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that would do. Yeah.
We didn't know.
Yeah,
At that
it
point,
was
you didn't know, did you? It's like, it's a set of drums.
My uncle just said, don't say anywhere the fuck where you got it from.
That's amazing.
Just on a podcast.
yeah. Fucking hell. And you just
me
like,
and Corby going, I knew it!
If it went through him, I would have never.
just it would have gone a different
My
way.
dad thought I was just. Don't get him anything because he just throws it away after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I really
You
want
stuck
this.
with it. Yeah. So who were you listening to when you were playing then? What was your
Like
frame of
the
reference? Yeah?
It's AC/DC really.
Oh,
That's
okay,
my dad,
yeah.
and he used to love that sort of stuff.
It's
Then
in,
Nirvana, obviously Nirvana was around then,
yeah.
and it just come from there. But I was never really into metal at all.
Yeah.
It was always sort of grungy more. Than
Oh right, like yeah, well, like kind of whole Seattle
Yeah.
scene and stuff like
That's
that.
what I was really into. But then I got in. I said to my mum, I'll never be in a band with the screaming vocals.
You too. Double down.
Just fuck that up, didn't it?
No,
So when did you all start going into playing with other people then? When did that happen? Was it quickly afterwards or?
first band was
School
good.
for me.
Yeah, people at school.
It
I
was
think that's how
we had
most people
I
start.
think so.
an
Yeah.
old school kind of. It was the drama room, but it was separate to the school, and it was used as like a youth club for discos and that at the weekend.
Yeah.
And everyone who played it just sort of get together and knock up some covers or come up with the most preposterous fucking named band and write a load of shit punk songs or something.
I've got a real sort of hankering for like first band names. I've heard some fucking howling ones. Like, what were all your first band's names then?
Lamppost Attraction was one of them.
Beautiful.
That was an indie
Fuck
band.
Raging Speedhorn, Lamppost Attraction. That's
I was 11. It was Distant Thunder.
distant.
That's
Thunder.
it.
That's
Yeah.
fucking great.
It's a cool name now.
Yeah.
Mine was Target, and we did like Beatles covers
And then
and
this,
wore suits and stuff.
and then the
played in pubs.
supermarket chain sued you.
Yeah.
We used to have loads of offshoot bands from Speedhorn.
Oh yeah.
The singer from Viking Skull, 'cause he was our guitar tech. And we'd have stupid like ball bag. And,
Just
yeah,
throwing
pigeons
names
and denim.
It's funny how a lot of bands kind of throw out these
Yeah.
crazy names.
Best
And
of was dog meat. I love that.
that beats a good thing. It's like Rage Against the Machine were like that was only decided apparently before they went on. They were like, oh fuck, we're going to call ourselves something Rage Against the Machine. That'll do. We'll change it later.
Yeah.
And then the fucking
There used
the,
to be a band, a British band, like in the 90s, they were called Whatever. And they were just about to play their first gig. And
That's
so the promoter's like, so what you called them? He's like, I just put Whatever. And he did. And it
yeah,
just stuck.
and it's stuck, and that's your band name.
Remember,
now.
like when we were getting a tour together for Viking Skull, and we were just like putting it. The agent was giving us all the dates, and there was one date, and it said London, and it just put in there. Moldy put is it, and we forgot to look at it, and we got the t-shirts printed. It was just like stuff like the print on the back was just so fucking shit venue. And we were like, we got hundreds of these shirts, and we were like, fuck, we've got to just sell them. A proper Spinal Tap.
So is it like, so you're playing in like kind of rooms and stuff like that? When did it kind of go so you were playing in front of an audience then? You know, when was you, do you remember your first time playing in front of people?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
No, mine was my 18th birthday.
Okay.
At a little local pub in York, where I'm from. And we just basically did Metallica covers. And one of our own. There was one riff for 6 minutes.
That's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
That's a good set.
That was my first gig.
Do you remember, like, did people clap? Like, did people applaud?
Well, it was all my mum's old friends and stuff like that.
Politely.
They just clapped because I was on stage.
Yeah.
It was my first one. Must have been about 15. It was with that band Target, but we hired out like a scout hut because no one was old enough to go in a pub.
Yeah.
But like once sold tickets for it around the school, and once people got wind it was going to happen on this Saturday night, people just bought loads of their own booze.
Shit.
And it was fucking. And
party.
Mate, it was like Motley Crue. Got shut down. The police came because everybody just saw 14, 15-year-old kids just puking up everywhere on the car park. No one was in and watching us. We were all drunk because we were like, oh yeah, we'll take our beer then. It was fucking horrendous.
They all just like
we were more rock and roll back then.
I know, yeah. I'm drinking water.
The school I was at, they did a lot of, like, every now and again they would just get all the other schools from the local area, and then we'd just put on a gig and get them all to come down and sort of they all turn up in their, like, you know, 12-seater vans and stuff like that, and
just pile in and just get at it like that.
Yeah, it's just you know, I think I was 13 the first time I actually played that sort of gig.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny because a lot of people are like, oh, you get your first stage fright from going on stage. And I got, just before I was about to go on, literally it's like a cold sweat. Right. My whole body just went into a massive sort of, you just felt fuzzy. I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
I was just always an arrogant fucker. I thought I was always fucking amazing.
The thing is, once I actually got up there,
still that, no.
Every band I've been in, I'm like, we're the fucking best band.
Once I actually got on the stage, it was fine. But it was just that whole sort of I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's like a fight.
The way I see it, it's like a fight. Do you remember going to your first shows yourself, like, and not just like, you know, rock and metal shows, but the first time live shows, arenas and small venues? Yeah. Do you remember them? What's your first one to those?
Like,
I'd see Sky in fucking 1980. Fucking hell. Ring time.
1980 fucking hell.
Yeah, that's old.
1986 probably, I think.
Yeah.
My mum took me.
Where was that?
That was at the Vicky Hall,
fucking hell.
It was fucking amazing.
Mine was
amazing back then. Was that their first?
And I was like, I'd heard her play vinyl of them and stuff, but I'd never really experienced a gig. It just fucking blew my mind.
Mine was 1985, 86. It was Little Angels and Chrome Molly and Expressions at Scarborough Futurist Theatre. I was only like 10. And that was one where all the seats got ripped out and they wouldn't let bands play there ever again. So, and I remember someone getting petrol in the face because we were blowing flames. Were Expressions, yeah.
Mine was Black Sabbath on the Last Supper tour, the second night of the Birmingham ones. Managed to get tickets for that. That was the first proper thing I'd ever been to.
That's going to blow your mind, isn't it? Because
they come on to War Pigs, so I was lost my shit.
Yeah, the fucking sirens in your life.
And the curtain drops.
Yeah.
NEC, yeah, it was wicked. Yeah. People ripping the seats off and throwing the
just remember stuff like Daz, our old bass player, just being so stoned, like we lost all the weed and we were just underneath the thing, like trying to find it because we were just smoking it. It was
amazing. Just hearing Tony Iommi do that bend at the start of Iron Man.
Yeah. And it's like it's right in front of you.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've gone to some more local sort of things, but there's proper big sort of like massive queues or big venues sort of thing was. What is on me at Brixton Academy in '96. Me and my mate were like, at the time, we were like banging into them. So we both of us went up there.
What? Okay, sad bastard.
Went up there. place is absolutely around. Obviously, they just released that album that did really well and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
then there's Bricks and Stage is massive.
Yeah.
And they all came on, started rocking out, and then Rob Zombie sprinted either side of the stage like proper yo-yo, and completely wiped himself out by like the second song.
Blew himself out,
Was that your first proper gig?
First proper big gig, yeah.
Bloody hell.
I think that year they played, that was the year I think they played like Download, and they played Glastonbury and Reading, didn't they? They kind of crossed over by the time I remember that, like, yeah. I remember that. That was,
I've been told he's an absolute prick. People, yeah. Have you ever recorded him? He's supposed to be an absolute cunt.
So was the moments then when this is happening, you first sort of playing in bands and you first playing with other people and seeing crowds and you're seeing these shows, was the moments where you're like, I could do this, I could actually do this?
I never wanted to be in a band like that.
No?
No.
Never, like a big arena band, no, always wanted to keep it small. Why?
I just never liked that kind of thing. I still don't.
You think it's like almost like a selling out then? Is that
to me it is. Well, not even that, I just don't.
It doesn't represent you.
I don't really like going to them sort of shows.
Well, that's what the argument is with the large arena shows. If you don't pull them off, like if you don't provide a spectacle like Floyd would do, that you're not going to create any kind of vibe with someone to fucking back, like, you know.
To see like that was when Limp Bizkit and Korn were playing.
Yeah.
I watched Limp Bizkit and I was like, that was amazing.
That's
Korn,
a show.
Yeah, Korn came on and I was like, there's just no point because they just know how to do it.
Yeah.
We're like, and then the one before that was when the free Rage Against the Machine show in London. I got tickets for that. But I just think you lose the whole vibe of it all.
It's only the very special bands.
Though,
yeah.
I'm completely the opposite to you. That's all I've ever wanted to do. Because as soon as I was that little kid and I saw Queen and We Will Rock You,
I want to do that.
That's the one. I want to know what that's like from the stage.
There's only specific bands that can pull that.
It's a very elite group, isn't it, that can do that, like, you know.
But you can have fun trying, can't you?
There was points with this band, I was like, fuck, that's amazing. But it got to a point where we got to a good level and I was like, don't want it to get any bigger.
What was that level? What was the...
Probably like...
Festivals?
Astoria,
okay. Yeah.
I was like, don't want to get any bigger than that.
Yeah.
Because like, I remember when me and Gareth, our old guitarist, we were watching Monkey, the Attic in London, because I was like, if we could headline this, I'll be so happy. And that's all my thing was. I just don't really care about that.
Did that come as well from some of the bands that you were into as well?
So I just hate the whole thing. I hate people knowing, even like now, I hate people coming up to me and talking to me about the band because I just think it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm on there playing, but I'm just like you are. There's nothing different to me. And I hate them sort of bands that roll around like they're Jimmy Big Bollocks. It's just like, you're not really any... All you're doing is playing. You just got a different job, That's all it is. Just be nice to people. You know? And some bands we've been on tour with and I've went, fuck it. There's no need for it. Yeah. And then like you go on tour with like Phil.
Yeah.
Samo, and like you go, fuck, that's what he should. That's the sort of band we all loved. Yeah. If we'd have got to that big, because they did it all. It's on their own terms. Some these other bands, I look at them, I just laugh at him. Guns N' Roses. I just think they're fucking.
It's almost like as high as you go up the ladder, and certainly the crowds and the place you play, the more you have to wrestle with your integrity. Like Pantera, a classic example of that. Like me and Dave's huge fans of Pantera. Like we were talking about Vinny before, and they. Obviously they're held on a pedestal because of the music, because they were the first kind of like of that ilk of the next sort of generation, that type of thing, but also because they more or less kept their identity, even when they were playing at Brixton Academy, or a huge.
You just said they did it on their own terms.
And it always seemed like they were like, you know, Dimebag, God bless him, always seemed like he could be your mate.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you totally dissolved the idea of
the home videos and stuff. There's never band and crew, is there? There's always they're just having a party, all of them. So it comes from the stage all the way down to like whoever the guy is driving the bus. They're all mates, and that translates off the stage.
Exactly.
That's another great thing about a band like Pantera. Is the fact that like they were a natural progression up to that point. So they played the bigger thing and got to the point where when they did have shows at arenas, they just went on and just fucking owned the place. Instead of there's still a few bands these days who just do like you think London show and then so just go.
Yeah, you think when a band blows up there, you think it's maybe like Henry Rollins talks about this, about how a lot of bands wouldn't survive if they had to do that, like in a van tour. You know, they wouldn't, like, can't say that we talk about them, you know, but when they first went on tour with like Priest, they were on tour, Painkiller tour. When they were on that, they were in the back of a van. Glenn Tipton would have to give them food to the hotel. He would send room service because he couldn't afford shit. You know, but they went through that because then they found out who they were and what they were trying to do, and ultimately that led to the payoff of being recognised as a band. Do you think now that maybe a younger band will, because of the way the world works, they're just getting blown up too quick and they're not realising kind of exactly what they were meant to be doing?
I think nowadays younger bands, they don't really. It's really weird. I don't think they even a lot of them like music.
I think
I like the idea of
because
it.
It's like what you were
I
saying.
don't think they earn their stripes.
It's like
fashion thing, and also I think there's a lot of bands that have formed literally out of music colleges and stuff. So they've done the music course, but they've never actually been out there and had the reality of it.
Yeah.
They do the first tour and it fucks them.
What the fuck's this? How good you play or whatever. It's like you've got to do your groundwork, and like you've got to go and listen to these bands like on a record or figure out, like, instead of going, I want to just be like this band like who's doing well now, go back in time and listen to bands that way. I think that's why you get bands what sound differently. You can tell when you listen to a band, you speak to them and you go, oh, it's because my dad let me listen to that instead of just listening to what's happening now.
Yeah, I think that's important because no one's got their own identity anymore, and I think you get that by listening to everything and working out what you want, because everybody just listens to one band. They just sound like that band.
Well, isn't the point that you're meant to take all the things that you like listening to, and then when you play your thing, all those things should come out.
But not just metal, you know what I mean? Gordon says he grew up on early stuff and he loves indie and pop. I love pop and stuff like that. I grew up on that. Was a new romantic and stuff like that, and I think it like that builds something. It's like Frank, innit? He's got a massive varied taste in music, and I think it shows because he's really talented with stuff. And it's just
it's ridiculous to say like I'm only into exactly this type of music when it's like, hold on, there are beautiful types of music in all genres. Talk about Dimebag, which is a huge country fan, and you get those squeals and those bends. They're from country, they are, you know. But he's put them and he's presented them as this now. It's like Motorhead taught us that. Motorhead taught me that punk's cool, that you can listen to punk bands and that's cool. And it's like, okay, and you bring that in. And thrash is just an extension of that, just sped up rock. It's all and every so often that's what needs to happen with metal, is it needs to be refreshed the tree a little bit with the blood of new styles and stuff, you know.
And I think that's probably why we stick out a bit more, because we just don't go for one genre of music. I think that's what, like, we're really into rock and roll and stuff. You know, you can tell. It's just in there.
Another problem as well, especially at the moment.
Another
problem, the biggest problem at the moment, is that because of like the whole way that the industry's going and stuff like that, a lot of bands, you know, they feel that they almost find they have to be a certain sound or a certain stuff because people don't want to take as much of a chance.
Well, it's how do you find that band then? Yeah, if you're into metal and you could go on Spotify now and you go show me the best metal that's up and coming on, new metal that's out there, you'll still get an algorithm of whoever everybody else is listening to. You'll still be kept in that echo chamber, if you will. So you're not really kind of hearing anything really new. You're hearing kind of whatever someone's put for you. So if you want to do a band that mixes metal and I don't know, some kind of grime or something, or whatever your style is du jour, you're going to end up not getting the exposure that you want, if that makes sense. You know, you're not going to be in those circles. Whereas used to be, you'd go to a record store, you'd look through all the records, and sometimes looking at the cover of the record, and you'd be like, okay.
You're looking through the alphabet in the old stores, aren't you? You're just going through and pulling them out. Oh, that looks cool. What's that?
Just going off the
he's
cover.
playing Les Paul, or
I used to go in HMV and just pick up the covers what looked good instead of the name, or not even knowing what it sounded like. Just do that once a week.
That's another thing that there's a record shop in my town. They've been there for years. So that's, you know, where we've got all Rockbox. And it's one thing that's actually making me feel really good about it is the fact that now vinyl is suddenly blown up again as like a thing, because people still want that physical. You know, nothing says better with an album. You actually got a proper album cover that you can look at. And I was talking to my mate who worked there, and he was just like, and it was like a couple of years ago when it first started going off, and they were like, it's now like 80% of our business is in vinyl because people want that physical thing. That I think they've sort of been a bit.
It's the ritual of listening to a record. There's a ritual to it. So it's to getting it out, looking at it, and smelling it in some cases. Putting it on the turntable and kind of listening to it in the order it was intended and all that, and having the lyrics in front of you and having whatever imagery that the band. Imagine listening to The Wall now. I bring The Wall up a lot because if you take all the songs work on their own, but they're far more powerful in the order that they decided.
Totally story.
You can listen to Dirty Women on its own, and it's single, and you can do what you want with that and a brick in the wall. But when you listen to its context, far more powerful, and that's something I know that we've maybe lost. I don't know if we'll ever get that back with the way music's kind of ingested now. So how do you all find music now then? How do you go out?
I don't. I just listen to Black Sabbath and Queen.
There's nothing new. There's nothing out there.
Interesting.
I don't think there's much stuff exciting apart from our new album.
I tend to find myself like falling down the YouTube rabbit hole quite a lot. And you listen to a band and then it gives you another band you've never heard of and go, oh, I'll give them a look. So you give them a look and go, maybe not. And then you see another video that's worth checking out, so you check it out. Yeah. And like, 1 out of 5 bands or videos that you see, you go, this is actually really interesting. You know, that's one of the reasons I found like there's a band called Oathbreaker, which I really like. And they're like, it's just suddenly they're like some screamy metal Belgian band. And I'd never even heard of them before, and I was looking at something else, and then I found them. So I was like, that's.
So that's how I find. If there's nothing like right now that's kind of like blowing your mind. What was the last thing you heard that you were like, fucking hell, that's really cool?
Cast's first album.
We were about that today, weren't we?
Can't wait to see them.
Cast.
I just love, like, I like metal, but it's got to be something which is really good for
when it's done well, it's the best thing in the world.
I'm just a bit bored of it all now.
Yeah.
I'd rather listen to like my mates and local bands who are struggling to get anywhere for new stuff. And like support that and go, oh, that's.
Why do you think we're in that situation then, where it's perceived, certainly by quite a lot of people, that there's not? Are we ready for another wave? Because it always happens in waves. We have the whole new metal.
I think something's got to change now.
Yeah.
I mean, like you've had that sort of, like the gallows kind of thing. And that whole pop punk thing is coming. That's on its way out. You can sort of see that now.
It feels like it's petering a little bit out.
I think something really good's got to come out as something.
Yeah. You can always tell when it's something's
like that
about
band Puppy, you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
They were doing quite well. Yeah. Which I honestly thought they were going to be the ones that would sort of break through.
It tends to be, it needs to kind of almost, like scenes need to be let to kind of run out, don't they, before they kind of...
You can always tell when it's about to happen because you get like a massive oversaturation of one type of band. Same thing happened, the exact same thing happened, like you had hair metal and everybody was in hair metal and then Nirvana came out, people went, I'm going to go and get myself like a check shirt now. Because
we had a little bit of it where, like Lamb of God were the last ones where I thought that was the start of something, and Killswitch to a certain degree, but I thought it was that, oh, here we go, that's going to be it. It didn't kind of really work out that way, but I thought that might be the next sort of group of things that are going to move on, but it seems like now it's moved, it hasn't moved as much as, maybe it can't, maybe
I think that's depends movements? Where you are, like over here not so much, but over in America bands like Killswitch, there's
I mean like there's bands like Bury Tomorrow who are doing well, you know, like I know them guys really well, and I think they've worked so hard to get to where they are. It's not my kind of music, and
you can appreciate
but like they've worked for 20 years busting their balls basically to try and get to where they are, and they're finally got the same with While She Sleeps.
I was just about to say Sleep.
It's not my kind of thing,
as well.
but I know them guys really well.
Yeah.
And you know, it's good to see bands.
It's good
like
when it's good to see that. Good seeing hard work paying off like it did in the old days.
But I think all that's to do with like they've all put the extra work in to not rely on the standard formats to get them out there. Like with Spotify makes everything kind of level, no matter what size the band is, but it also makes everything good. Like you say, there's no artwork, there's nothing to touch, but also most people just stick it on random, they ain't got a clue what's what and where, when, they just listen to it. And it takes a band to like do something really special and push it in their own way, like Sleeps, like Conjurer, bands like that.
Conjurer, I remember seeing Conjurer and thinking that's something, you know, that's something. Like, it was like there's a band called Boss Keloid from they're a fabulous example of that, like where they kind of take that doom and stoner thing and kind of mix it all up, and they're kind of doing their own thing. It takes, I think, I think all it does is it just forces you to be fucking good. I think it just you sit there and go, listen, if we're gonna play our local venue and it's like 200 people or whatever, I've just got to be honest. It forces you to come up with good artwork. It forces you to come up with to really good quality. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe this is creates that bar of quality that otherwise, if there's hundreds and millions of these Metallica garage bands that are formed that maybe they need to be wiped out to a certain degree before we move on, and the quality control is going to do that, because this is where it leads me to a lot at the times. The question that gets raised on the podcast is, who's the next headliners for big festivals?
I think,
where are they coming from?
I think them kind of festivals are going to peter out as well. I think they're going to go down the road of like them HRH festivals where they're just in big-ish venues, and because I can't understand if Maiden go tomorrow. Metallica, who's going to actually do it?
This should be pointed.
No one's got the pull, have they?
Yeah, because it's a risk versus investment, isn't it? If 100,000 people are showing up for your show, you've got to have a return of investment.
You say that. Then you headlined Bloodstock this year. Who was that?
Sabaton?
No. The Saturday Night Parkway Drive.
Oh yeah. Well, there was murder when it first got announced. People were like, they shouldn't be playing the festival, let alone at any level.
But then once it happened, see how well they went down and the production they used and stuff like that. So there are some bands.
And that probably means that I would say that after that now, the album that they release after that will be better for them having that experience. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? That's gonna like you think about Metallica go out with Ozzy during their kind of gestation period, and then they come away and they go out and do Justice, and they have all that type of thing, and you think all these great bands like Pantera go out with Judas Priest, and then they come back with bigger and better things. We need to have those moments where we take a chance, and it's getting less and less, isn't it? Because it's so fucking much money on the line.
That's it. Maybe those festivals need to do that. Have someone that make it go
and
then you actually see it.
Maybe everyone thinks there isn't the bands coming through because those bands aren't getting the chance to prove themselves.
Because the 3 days of a festival used to be, I remember when Download first moved from being Monsters of Rock and Donington to Download, and the 3 days used to be the first day would be kind of like a bit of a kind of fan favourites, if you will, had a fair few albums out, a couple of sing-along songs. The second day would always be a young up-and-coming big act, if you will, you know what I mean? And then the last band on that one will be the Stone Classic, you know what I mean? So you'd have Whitesnake or someone like that, and you knew they were going to have the Clutcher songs, and they would do that. But they would always take a chance on that middle band, I remember Linkin Park headlining Download, and that was seen, and it was seen as being like, fucking hell, I think that those seem to be happening. I think you're right, I think it's probably... It needs to be more like in Europe. When you go to see the festivals in Europe, it's multifaceted. Like you'll have different types of bands on. It won't just be.
On the same stage.
Think about Wacken and the fucking diversity of stages.
What you said there is like with these bands where they go out, like Pantera and all that went out, and they've seen these big production. I mean, it was so different back then, where you could go to your record label and go, got this amazing idea, will you give us the money? Now the record label just laugh at you and go, jog on son, we ain't got the money for that, because back then they were still selling a load of records. You don't sell nothing now. Some of these bands who are on these big labels, they get enough. They're advances.
Well, you're seeing that. You're seeing how much touring's price has gone up and how much attention is on it now. Where it used to be merch back in the day was an afterthought, and it was only you had the likes of your Peter Grant and stuff and Led Zeppelin who kind of manoeuvred more. Well, we want to cut to that. Then it became the main thing. Then it became all about that. Then it became that's how we're going to make the money on this tour. Which is fucking extraordinary. Think about Metallica, one of the highest end touring bands, make the money predominantly from merch sales. It's insane. Because for those that are listening that don't know, Gunn, you also look after bands and vans and stuff like that. So you'll have seen that firsthand.
Definitely. It's crazy. When I first started getting into it, how little bands are getting paid, but then they make up so much money on merch, and that's still the same now. Even with us, it's like that's got to be a big thing for us to be able to go out. It
looks like as well though, sadly it's become the master to some people, where it's like you know, people now will think, oh, well, we're going to become a band. All right, well, we need to get a T-shirt. It's hold on a fucking second.
Before you learn how to hit a drum.
Well, that's the whole thing about people wearing T-shirts of bands that they've never fucking heard of before because
Have you seen that thing on YouTube where the guy goes up? It's like he
asks the question. He says, "Tell me 3 songs."
Yeah. Amazing.
Although it's good because you do still get the guys that go like bang bang bang, and then they tells you 5 songs because they actually like the band, and then the next person's like, I can't even read that.
Because that comes up all the time as well. It's like it's like someone will have a Motorhead T-shirt and you'd be like, oh, so you like Motorhead? And they're like, not really, no. And you're just like,
I got it in Top Shop.
Yeah,
it's like,
and it's fucking madness. But that's it. Now the branding's been put before the music in many ways because that's how you earn. Because we've established that merch is the key thing. Now the branding of something comes before the fucking music.
Because of that, more people have heard of Motorhead than actually heard Motorhead.
Yeah. And that's like, and I think that cannot be healthy. That can it? No. You know, that cannot be. And there's almost, I think that's like we say about the like bands where you can't read the names, like a lot of black metal and all that type of thing. I think that's a deliberate thing now. We're like, fuck you, we'll make it as difficult as we can to read it. That way, that takes that off the table now. Like, it's almost...
We should do a Speedhorn design.
Yeah.
Well, so I remember hearing about when the Rolling Stones go and do their like gigantic sort of like Wembley Stadium or something like that. They actually have a cut of all the carts, all the merch carts, if you're selling your merch or not, everything.
Yeah.
And that's written in their contracts. Just seeing how much money just from that before they even get paid for the gig.
Like I say, that's how. You know, I hark back to the famous scenes on like the Led Zeppelin documentaries where you see Peter Grant with a cricket bat chasing fucking these people making moody T-shirts and stuff because he knew then that's like, how much you make on a T-shirt? $10 or what else in the fucking 70s? $10. I want fucking $5 of that. And could then switch around, and that's why, you know, it became so important to them. Like, you know,
good on him though as well.
Fuck, he kind of like changed the game. He was the one, but he suggested like things like, did he suggest Whole Lot of Love shouldn't be released as a single, and because it was such a good song that people would buy the album. Yeah. And you think, what a fucking brilliant decision that was. You know what I mean? But then you think like the other stuff like not playing Woodstock and things like that are being, you know, maybe not so much. But he was like this huge barrel of a man with a cricket bat. He's parodied in Spinal Tap. That guy's a parody. But it's people like him who who helped kind of shape the business. But it was like he was money orientated. He wasn't music orientated, you know. And unfortunately now that's what's happening is the money men have kind of, you know, moved in almost wholesale. It used to be like when we hark back to Floyd and like in the 70s, people were signing fucking anything at that time. They were signing anything because they didn't know what was good or bad, and it was only when you could start making money out of it that it started to get to be bad, like in the 80s and 90s. We're maybe at a stage, I don't know how I'll put this forward, we're maybe at a stage now where now labels and A&R guys, to as much degree as they exist, are in that where they don't know what the fucking next thing is. They've no idea now. So you're going to get, hopefully, some people being given a bit of a chance. But I don't know. What do you think?
I think back in the 70s and like early 80s and stuff where albums were released, a lot of those bands, especially the biggest ones, they were given like 2 albums to get your shit together to release your classic, sell millions of albums sort of thing. Like Zeppelin did that, you know, they sort of went a trajectory basically, all banging albums, but it's like you get to that point where it just the sales just go through the roof. They just don't do that now. They give you like, sometimes they give you like an EP deal, and if nothing happens, they're like, see you later.
Well, we're in a time now where you get like the likes of 360 deals and all kinds of fucking scandalous stuff.
The sales are just not there, so they have to find some way of clawing the money back.
Yeah. So I suppose this is leading to, if you are a young band now and say you guys went back and formed new bands like you know, when new bands are starting now, fuck, where do you start? What's the most important thing? Is it just getting some good fucking songs together?
Write some decent riffs, chops
together.
That's what it is.
Is that what it comes down to?
Together.
Well, that's just the other thing. People don't realise that a lot of the time the greatest bands for me were all the ones that seemed like, to the greater or lesser extent, mates.
Yeah.
Pantera look like a group of lads from Texas just fucking getting out and enjoying themselves.
Who just happen to play guitar.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like all my favourite bands, all the metal bands that I like, all seemed like just a bunch of lads, bunch of local lads, I should say as well, going out and doing that.
That's what it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what it should be, and then whatever happens after that is like Brucey bonus, isn't it?
Yeah. Did he suddenly make good? And
and the stuff we still have to do, like. That's why that's the most thing I look forward about going away now is seeing my mates.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's what a festival is. You do 40 minutes or something at a festival, and the rest is this massive hang. Where you just see all your friends and stuff. You know. But that's maybe what it should be then. You know, that's maybe what
That's
I think.
What I'd say, definitely.
Because I went to a show a couple of months ago, and it was like it was an all ages show, and I was like easily the oldest person there, and this was like the newer crop of metal that was coming out. And these kids were like, everything that we talk about in sort of negative ways, and probably rightly so, they were seen as a positive. They were like, well, okay, we might get on Spotify and get lost and whatever, but we don't care in that way, we'll just do what we want. And they were putting like bits of every single thing that they liked, smashing it together and playing it just for the fuck of it. They didn't care about like, they weren't doing this to get signed, they weren't doing this to get like more liked. They didn't give a fuck about any of that. So it is going on. There is a quiet rebellion, if you would all allow one in this case. It is. I think
it has to be. I think that's what it's. I think that's the band that's going to come through.
Yeah,
which is basically has different fingers up at all of that. It's just fuck you, we're doing exactly what we want to do. Because that's the thing is like that whole. I think people are too scared to say things now.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're all sucking each other's arseholes because they're too scared to say anything. Where it needs to be a band like, say, like Sex Pistols, where they turn around and go, "Nah, fuck you," we'll say what we. And that, to me, that'll be the band that's going to break through. Yeah. It's just got that attitude.
Yeah, this is why grime and hip hop's actually doing better than rock and metal because they're the ones who don't give a fuck, and they are now the rock stars, which rock stars were. And rock stars are now rock stars. The grime artists are bigger rock stars. Yeah. And also, they're putting more influences now in their grime and rap stuff, is all the new metal stuff. And they're actually taking metal bands out with them as support bands in their big tours. Yeah. So it's all about...
And that's, if you go back to like the 80s and stuff, late 80s, that was happening. You had like, that's where rap metal came from. That's why we had like, Public Enemy and stuff were doing things with Anthrax and stuff. And at first it's a bit like, okay, as Aerosmith with Run DMC, it's a bit like, but because of that, if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have had, Korn and stuff like that. And if we hadn't had the 80s and adoption of that, we wouldn't have had Fear Factory and Nine Inch Nails, So it sounds like, grime is doing a very natural thing to what it was going on before. Grime
will push metal further and bring it to a wider audience than it has been in a long time.
Wow.
Because like a lot of the shows I work now, so like your grime acts stuff, they'll sell out in a day. Yeah. And like a lot of your rock and metal acts won't even sell that. And like Denzel Curry, like he did like 3 nights on the Trot of the Academy, and that sold out in 10 seconds. And he did that banging Rage Against the Machine cover, didn't he? Bulls on Parade one. Yeah. And then he does like loads of metal songs and stuff in his set, and you have to see more metal kids and other people. At them shows. Is
it an energy thing as well? It's like, because we share that, don't we? Possibly. We share that with like rap, that kind of fuck you, and like anti-authority stance, and kind of all about your local environment and you looking after your friends and stuff. That's a shared energy, isn't it? That with a lot of sort of, usually we all kind of meet on the same kind of corner with that, don't we? And these are the things that are kind of, like you say, that'll, all the rap guys want to be seen with the metal guys, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And there's tons of pictures with rap guys, like with Ozzy and with Len.
Yeah, Post Malone,
they love it. It's like almost like a badge of credibility, that they're like, showing.
Well, the thing is these people probably grew up on that anyway.
For sure. Yeah.
This is just Jim said basically. They're going to be responsible for pushing the metal section or the metal and rock further forwards, and actually then that will hopefully open the door for somebody to come along and just do something or really blow up. Yeah. It always comes down to one thing, which is the songs. Like you can look the part, you can have all the gear, like you can have a lovely sounding like this, that, and the other. But if your songs are not,
your songs suck. It just
I mean, it's like that band who I think's good is Deployed to Serve. They're wicked.
Yeah.
And there's that other band called Loathe from.
Loathe was talking to someone else about that today. Yeah.
I know their manager really well.
They're fabulous. They're getting compared to the Deftones and stuff.
I think they're gonna do well.
They took like some stuff that like like I say, that slight elements of grime, if you will, slightly. But yeah, some really great stuff going on with them, and they're kind of doing it on the quiet, just quietly playing shows and selling them out, And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the way it's going to be. But I wonder how where the poison is then. You know what I mean? Because these bands they're big, that somehow they get poisoned, and that's what we kind of. You seen it with Nirvana. You seen what happened to Kurt, that he got poisoned and stuff, and you see what happened to Pantera. You see what happened to Phil. And obviously what happened to Dime. There's a point where it gets poisoned either by the internet itself, or the fan base, or the people in charge of the purse strings.
I think that's another one of those because the whole thing with Nirvana sort of was again they were playing little clubs, and then Nevermind came out, and the next thing they went from tiny little club to playing like headlining festivals.
It just wasn't prepared.
Just like that.
Yeah,
and that's enough to screw with anybody's mind. So I'm not surprised. Basically, he went downhill after that.
Yeah.
But it's the bands that who have built themselves up slowly. You've done your little tour, you've done your Brixton Academy, and then you've done your arena, and you've headlined a festival. You saw the natural progression. I always find those sorts of bands are the ones that actually are the most down to earth because they've worked up to it.
They've remembered where they come from.
Exactly.
You said it before when you were like, I kind of did all those shows. I played that headline thing. I did that. And I'm happy. Do you think if you would have kept going and if you'd have been like, right, well, we'll sell you on an arena tour around, do you think that would have just fucking killed the band? Do you think it would have took everything from it? Yeah. Definitely. That some bands maybe should stay in that particular room in that area. Yeah, maybe so. It's like the Sex Pistols went over to the States and it fucking destroyed them.
Well, I toured with Cookie quite a bit.
Yeah.
And he just goes on about it all the time.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, it is what it is, He's a millionaire, so he doesn't really.
I think some bands,
that, but when you talk about it, he just goes, "Well, I was 18, I'm 60, I'm 63 now." It's like it's mental when you tour with him. Because I did the tour with Ruts,
Yeah.
And he's really nice to people until there's a point in the day you can see him changing, and someone will go Cookie, and he'll just tell him like fuck off, and it's just like right, let's get him away from everyone now because he still has people following him. Down the street, and he's like,
that's
this,
crazy,
and he was like, this is because I made a record when I was 18.
Yeah.
I was like, that's mental, isn't it?
Well, that's it. There's the weight of that as well, isn't it? We're talking about kind of playing stuff and trying to be the best you can be and playing shows. Now you have the fame, but there's also that weight of expectation. That also destroys talents. It's like we all albums sold platinum, so the next one's got to go triple platinum. Yeah. What? And it's like this. Everything's got to be bigger again. It's like that just when you think about like Sabbath and like Volume 4, the pressure they must have been fucking under. No wonder they turned to drugs and stuff, and then encompassed the whole being,
I've read the Tony Iommi book. There's literally there was
Dolphins,
pans, and there was literally just a mountain of coke.
Yeah.
I was like, that's how they got through that album.
Wait till Frank sees that, you'll come in screaming.
But now we've got to the point where the drug is social media, the drug is acceptance, and the drug is fame itself. Fame.
That's a scary thing, social media. I mean, look at that whole thing with, again, what happened to Phil.
Yeah.
And it's like, honest to God, when we announced that tour, the amount of people who were like out for us straight off the bat.
Guilt by association, everything.
And I was just like, you don't even know the guy. Don't go saying that.
Yeah.
We asked him about it.
Yeah.
And he was cool,
he
was like the coolest dude.
He was cool once he was down to it.
It was like nice. One night me and him were really drunk. And I was like, let's go upstairs and just say hello to him. We were like really and he's really nice anyway, but we were just like
were you still a bit starstruck as well, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't think
I don't know if it's not the right word
I don't think I was. It's just like fuck, that's
he's important. He's an important person,
especially in our band. Because it went through anyway. We were up there, we were quite pissed and knocked on his door, and I just sort of barged through.
He was getting changed after the show. He had his t-shirt like
that. And he was like, can we come and say hello? And he's like, oh man, I was like, just want to say, if it weren't through your band, we'd never been a band. He was like, motherfuckers.
Just
came in and he was like,
hugged all 3 of us.
That's hard as well. If you like, you're the guy that kicks the door through with your band, and everybody's looking for you for the fucking answers, and you're that responsible for someone coming up and going, "You changed my life," and he must get said that to even now, fucking 10 times a day. You changed my life. Your band, you are important.
But you can see how much it means to him as well.
Yeah,
he wasn't faking it, was he? He was proper dude.
Vinny had that, God bless him, where he especially when his brother passed away, where you could see that he realised he probably knew before then, but he really realised how important people put him. I don't think he realised until later on in his life just how important people saw him. And then when he did, he was this bartender du jour. He was just this. He knew everybody's name. He shook everybody's hand. He was just like this wonderful. And it reminds me of I seen Motorhead when before Lemmy passed. I saw him back and our guitar tech. He was like, watch what the guitar tech does during the show, and I was like thinking he was going to do some crazy technical thing, and I was like, keep an eye on him. So we're side of stage watching this great, I'm one eye over on the shot and looking at him, and he comes over and he's doing all this guitar techy stuff, and I'm thinking, whatever, and he pulls out like a plasterer's table, if you will, fold away table, and he puts it up on there, and I'm like, what the he's got a guitar tech bench, what the fuck's he doing here? Puts like a piece of cloth over it, he starts getting all his drinks out and he's pouring and I see he's bartending at the fucking side of the stage.
Brilliant.
But I got that he was doing it because the whole ethos is everybody needs to be enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody kind of, and I definitely got that with Pantera, that like they would remember your name, like Vinny would know me, but it seems like, hey, what's going on? We'd have 2 or 3 things we'd bust each other's balls about, and he'd rib me about it, and you'd have that. Because I thought that they understood the importance of what they were doing and for the younger crowd, so they would take out younger bands with them, and that was incredibly important. You don't get that so much now, do you? Because it's like the bands are always picked by the labels and stuff. You don't get as much say.
Because like me and him toured in his old band, and we did it a lot, and it's like his band is nowhere near as heavy as my band, but somehow it just used to work.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays it's like everyone goes out, you're a pop punk band, you're going out with that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
You're going out with like you don't even get really a chance to say.
How boring must that be for the crowd though to watch 3 of the same band?
I was talking about talking today to someone, and we were talking about how varied builds need to be, and we were like, when you go for a meal at a restaurant and you have like a starter, you don't have the same thing. The point is that everything's meant to be
three
under the same
steak.
You're having 3 steaks. It's like no. Well, and you want that, and that's like I think that's something we need to definitely bring over from Europe. Europe's very big on that. Where you'll go to a show,
maybe that's why the grime thing's working. What we were on about before.
I think people want that.
Grime acts are taking metal bands out with them.
Yeah, because you just want to see a show, and you just want it to be enjoyable. Ultimately,
And it's like it brings you into the listener as well, checking out bands you probably never even think about listening to.
That's the whole point there, isn't it? Like,
and another thing is, because I've been to enough of gigs where it has been like this, and it fucking sucks. It basically doesn't make you sort of ear blind.
Yeah, you get that.
If you hear 3 of the same bands, it's just like, am I hearing the same fucking band? Oh,
yeah,
no,
you
it's the third
switch
band.
off.
What the hell's going on? You literally just switch off.
Well, if they were on a different bills, you'd probably watched it and went,
exactly, yeah. But there'd be like 3 amazing bands, but because they all sound exactly the same, you're like,
it's 5 black metal bands. Like,
or you get the annoying thing that you get them kind of gigs where everyone goes to see just the headlining band. Because they know it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah. So where do we all stand with then gig etiquette? So people on phones and at shows and stuff, is that good thing, bad thing here, or
what, you just filming it?
Yeah, if you're filming it.
In my opinion, if someone's paid for the ticket, do what the fuck we want.
The thing is like, it's cool because
it's the football thing. You can shout at the ref because you paid for your tickets. You know what I mean? You can shout at that player because you're paying his wage.
And it's cool for everybody, I think, because
it gets it out there. You get tons of hits on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, if it's basically at the front barrier, basically staring at the phone, looking like bored to tears, that's not really cool.
Frank took people's phones off them, and
right. That's a different thing, isn't it?
If you're videoing it, or a lot of people do these days, they turn the light on because that's the new lighter.
Stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be back to you. I'm playing my dick off.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck have you come here for then? You've got this on your phone, because there's two prongs to this. Like, so there's the one where it's like disrespectful, where if he's playing away and I'm down, not even looking at him, he's fucking giving it the beans, and I'm so that's disrespectful. It just is, you know. But there's the other prong to it. It's like that if you're recording something, people are like, fucking, I was going to come and see Raging Speedhorn tonight, but I'll just watch the videos that people put up online. Hold on a fucking second, that's a ticket not sold then, you know what I mean? That's a body not on the floor. So there's that kind of, the twin sort of thing of that. It's probably the reason phones are seen, a mobile sort of media is seen as a bad thing at shows, because it's keeping people from going. I can't see what they can do about that though. Well, the comedians now, a lot of the comedians that play big arena shows like Chappelle and stuff like that, there's phone banks is the right word for it, but so you can't take it's on the tickets, but you can't take your phone with it, because they're coming from the stance of, I'm putting my work out there, I'm telling the joke. They tell a
new joke and it goes online that night, the tour's fucked, isn't it?
Yeah, because that goes back to like Steve Martin when he was doing his first shows. He would be like, he'd have this act that he'd spent fucking 10 years honing, so it was fucking perfect. It got put on VHS video at the time. Everybody could buy it. He said, I can't do any of that stuff again, because it's fucking gone. So the thinking with the comedians is like, I don't want anybody to see, especially when I tell a joke and it doesn't work. I want you to see it all fully presented. It's like hearing demos from an album. I don't really want you to hear that yet until you've heard us fucking work out that middle eight properly or whatever it may be. You know?
Let's see if you do their acoustic, their MTV Unplugged thing up in London, and there was a massive queue, and it's like, it's taking forever to get into the gig. It's because they were giving everybody these sort of silver bags.
That's it. You
could keep your phone, but it had to be in a silver bag. So you can like film it or do anything like that, because they were like, we don't want anybody to see this until it's released.
It's fair enough.
And that because there seems to be the people making a connection with them, that's why they're not coming to live shows, because they're like, fuck it, I'll watch this show tonight on YouTube. It's true, and you're like, fucking hell, well that's not going to work. Like, you know, it sounds shite. You know, it's just never going to sound good. It's never going to, even with the best camera roll, you're never going to get that experience of the house lights coming down and that first riff kicking in. You're never going to get War Pig's air siren going and get that feel. You can't get that watching on YouTube. You're never going to get that, being able to actually see Tony and go, fuck, it's Tony, and you're never going to get that.
It's so sad how it's got like, because we've been going for so long, I remember them times where we were crying and people didn't really know you know, and people would just, if you were walking down the street, someone would go, fucking hell, that's gone now. It's completely gone. Because everybody knows everything about it. Like, all of us have got Facebook pages. All they have to do is search you.
I love that. I love the mysteriousness of bands. It's like when Korn came out, they had a right mysteriousness about them. And then I think Jonathan Davis got too much into being like, badly done, and it just went on and on like that, and it's like you know too much about them now. And there isn't that air of, I want to know them people.
If you think about it, like, Tony Iommi doesn't have a fucking Facebook profile. He probably has a Twitter, but it's probably not run by him, is it? Because it's that access. You don't want everybody to know everything about you, because I'm sure, like say Angus Young, I'm sure there's large periods of his day when he's just doing normal person stuff, you know what I mean? Fucking having his dinner or watching the telly. I don't want to see that though, because I don't want to know that I want to know that he's Angus Young to me, and he's that guy. And we've maybe let people too much completely into rock stars' lives, and it's kind of complete. It's like I didn't believe it was true. Like, never meet your heroes. I still believe you should. What you shouldn't do is you shouldn't get to know them. If you know what I mean, you should meet them and you should touch that part of it, but you shouldn't get to know them. You shouldn't be like, you know, it kind of ruins the whole thing. It ruins the whole camp, doesn't it?
It's crazy because my friend's dad's Phil Campbell. You just seeing the things like that, you're just like, shit, I just don't really want to know about that.
I don't want to know because he's this, he's not that there.
Going to their house and stuff, you just like laugh. Taking two dogs for a walk down the street.
He's just a bloke. Phil's just a bloke. I've been here with him talking about nonsense stuff, like, you know.
That shouldn't be allowed.
Is that what we're missing then, gents? Are we missing rock stars?
I think we are.
Do they exist anymore?
Going back to the grime thing. Those are the rock stars these days. They're out there. Look how big I am. I don't give a fuck.
You're missing characters. You're getting a lot of wannabes. You're losing your Kurt Cobains, your Sid Viciouses.
And like you say, the mystique of it though as well.
Yeah, and
like I like all the stories that went along with it. Like as much of a dickhead he was for doing it, like Guns N' Roses wouldn't have been as huge as they were if Axl didn't come on 2 hours late.
What was great about the pre-internet days is lies.
Yeah.
You could hear a story about Robert Plant and go, I can't prove it. There's no video. There's no one. We don't know. And that's how myths got created. Then you know what I mean? The amount of stories there must have been about Axl before the internet. Now, if he falls over in a show, it's up on YouTube in the next 10 minutes. So it's all laid bare. There's no mysticism. There's no
lack of mystery.
How can you be a rock star if every single part of your move is being followed? You know, it's all.
Well, it's a fine line between how much you're obviously finding a way of using social media as a tool, but like keeping the mystery. So literally, you only show about the rock star stuff. Than actually showing you going down to the co-op down the road for some drinks. You know, you want rock stars to stay to be just visible as rock stars.
We've learned over time, like all the drugs that have killed off all our favourite people, and all the things we've learned to manage that. Maybe social media and the modern life is just another drug that we're going to have to learn to get by. To create this next crop of metal, like maybe that's what we're going. It's another evil. We're just going to get by. The same way the cocaine was, and all that type of thing, you know, and drugs, and alcohol, and all that stuff in the 70s killed them all off. Maybe now it's that acceptance and the fucking wanting to be, you know, fully accessible that we need to destroy as well. Fuck that talk about Dead Heavy. I was going to talk about beer for like 45 minutes. No, like fucking but if you think about it from a psychological, what the fuck? It's all great that this has been performed into a backdrop of like some guys just fucking playing that and just go, we don't give a fuck. I love that.
There's quite a few festivals that sort of fallen by the wayside because it got to the point there was too many festivals because people just assumed that that's what it was making all the money. And then realised you can't just keep making more and more festivals and hope for the best.
Too many.
So it's getting better now because the ones that at the moment are sticking around are the ones that are actually worth going to. That's one thing I quite like about the 2003 festival because they've always got quite a wide variety of acts. But not just that, they refuse to get bigger. Like there's some festivals that do quite well one year and go, we'll go even bigger. And then wondering why they've sold half the amount of tickets. Overreach was.
Listen to us though talking about like the way forward is acceptance and bringing in new genres and all that and looking after the younger bands and stuff like that. Talk about metal getting people who don't understand it have got the wrong idea about it, haven't they? It's abrasive, fucking destructive force. It's quite the reverse, like quite the reverse. That's fucking ace. That's a great way to leave it. I'll leave it there. So that was just a sit down and a good chat with my friends in Raging Speedhorn. Fabulous band. They played a show after that and absolutely destroyed it. Fabulous band, and I cannot wait to hear their new material and the new album as well. So happy for my boy Dave to be playing guitar with them at the moment, and they're just a really just a great band. So yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. Yeah, the sound was kind of weird in places and things and all the rest of it, but you know, I think the whole thing was really enjoyable. I think I laughed listening back to it, so hopefully some people out there will also laugh and enjoy the conversation as well. And I appreciate everybody that does listen to the show, and I appreciate everybody that leaves messages. And this week that we've got, this will be released in, we're looking at Dead Rebels, a new EP as well, and look at that as part of the week with. I've got some more interviews coming up as well, and some other bits and pieces lined up, and I don't like to be that guy, so like announcements coming this time and announcements, I don't like doing that. I just like to tell you when it is. So, you know, this next week we're going to do the week with, and then there's going to be some stuff coming up with that as well. We edge closer to me being a guest lecturer as well in Liverpool University, which is hugely interesting to me, and I'm really going to kind of embrace that whole thing, and I'll tell you as we get closer when that's going to be a live thing and you can listen to that as well. That's coming soon. But in the meantime, thanks for listening, and I'll see you at the show.